Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Colleen Smith. This is the live podcast When All Else Fails. I wanted a platform where women can come by, pull up a seat, have a drink, and discuss real life face-to-face, in your face, unedited, unscripted conversations. So for the next 45 minutes or so, pull up a chair, pour a drink, leave your comment, questions, because when all else fails, we have a conversation and figure shit out. Hello everyone, today is Thursday, June 28th. It is a new night, episode 4. I appreciate everyone who is sticking with us on Thursday. I have a guest here who we're going to talk, and this is going to be, this is what I want the podcast to be, is to prove to people that I don't have to know you to be on the podcast. I have Serena with me. Say hello.
Hello.
Serena is here. I don't know Serena from a hole in the wall. I just met her a couple weeks ago. We play bingo on Monday nights. She's a girlfriend to my husband's friend, if you can follow that. But every woman has a story. And this is what the platform is all about. This is what I want to give every woman an opportunity to tell their story, because we're all going through something at any given moment, or we've been through something, or maybe we are about to go through something. And it's good to have, too many times we tend to just tear other women down, like, oh, look at this bitch, look at what she did, what the fuck was she doing? But you don't always have that platform where you can be like, you know what, I went through that shit too, girl. Mm-hmm. I've been there. I applaud you, because when all else fails, you got your shit together and you made it through. So, Serena, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself before we dig into the questions?
What do you want to know?
So, you have 2 children.
I have 2 children. Yep, I'm a mom. My daughter's 11, and my son just turned 8.
So you got your hands full.
I got my hands full.
A boy and a girl, that's good.
Boy and a girl, yep. Going through a divorce, which is always fun.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yep. Starting a new career, so that's exciting as well. A lot of stuff is going on right now.
A lot of big changes.
A lot of big changes.
And that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely tough.
Yep.
I feel you. I went through a divorce. It's not an easy process, especially when your kids are little.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's tough for them. Some of them make it out better than others. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, I'm blessed, because at first it was hard for them. Mm-hmm. They grew up in a home with mom and dad, and now they split their time 50-50 with mom and dad. It's not one of those nasty breakups where it's you only see dad every other weekend, or, we don't talk trash about each other. We co-parent. But it's hard. I've lost my kids half the time. So
it is hard. And is it new? Is it pretty new?
So we've been separated for about 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And we're just about finished with the divorce process. So it's been a long road.
Definitely.
I think the kids are better off now, because before dad was always physically there, but he wasn't there. Mm. Mom was always the one taking them to school and doing horse camps and activities and all this. Now they have half the time with dad. They do a lot more with him.
He's forced to spend time, like real quality time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if anything positive is coming out of this,
it's a blessing.
It is.
Definitely.
It is. Whatever the motives are, it is what it is, but I look at it as a blessing.
Hey, take it. And I understand when you say, the downfall is you have your kids half the time.
Yes.
And initially, like, I remember, I mean, my divorce was many, many, many years ago. But I remember, you know, having like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with myself this weekend? If I don't get my kids back, I'm going to be a full-blown alcoholic. That's all.
It's been an adjustment, but now I'm like,
yeah,
it's a kid-free night.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah. I mean, and we had, you know, it was bouncing back and forth every other weekend and during the week. And it was, you know, for the longest time, I mean, it's a blessing that we only live a mile apart now. So we do co-parent. I will tell you, it does get better. We've been divorced for over 10 years. It gets better because we do co-parent, and he has a fantastic wife that I co-parent with, basically, because, you know, the women always end up doing all the work anyways, most of the time. Sorry, guys, if you're actually listening to this podcast. Women do all the work. Okay, 90% of the work. Unless, you know, you're my husband, who is like a unicorn, basically. So, he does some work. But it is hard, but it does get better. I can tell you that. It does get easier, especially as they get older. It gets easier. But I do want to jump into some questions, you know, as you as a person, to get to know you, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Is getting to know other women. We want to build them up, not break them down.
Absolutely.
And that's the goal. So my first question is one word that perfectly explains who you are.
A fighter.
That's a great word.
A fighter.
Wow. That's a great word.
I'm a fighter.
Wow. See, no one's ever said that. Good for you. Fight on. I hear ya. Definitely. So, on the very hardest days, what motivates you to get out of bed?
The easy answer would be my children.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
Because
that's not the answer.
That's what everybody says. What motivates me to get out of bed on the hardest days is my mother.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have a good relationship with your mom?
No, she's passed away. She's passed away 10 years ago. And at a very young age, I made a promise to both myself and my sister that I would do everything in my power to be everything that my mother was not.
Wow.
So that is my driving force for everything I do, is to be unlike her in every possible way.
Wow. So, see, I don't even know what to say. Yes, I've been drinking. We just recorded low-key conversations. I've had a couple of drinks. But I will explain, I just want to say this one thing, that hits me so hard. And I'll tell you why. It's because my mom recently had a stroke. Mm-hmm. She is in rehab. As much as I love my mother because she gave birth to me and she's given me life, she didn't necessarily raise me. She wasn't a very great mother. Mm-hmm. And I'm, you know, I still am blessed to have her here. However, I feel some kind of responsibility, I guess, because I'm like, okay, now I have to step in.
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, I mean, I have sisters, but they can only do as much as they know, and which isn't much. So, and I am the oldest. So I feel like out of duty as being the oldest, I have to step in, but at the same time, I feel some kind of guilt for thinking like, why am I stepping in?
Yeah.
Why am I stepping in now? Who stepped in my entire life?
Exactly.
So that, to me, I'm so glad you said that the reason why you wake up is not your children.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's a reason. But the main reason why on a hard day you wake up is because, like you said earlier, you are a fighter. Mm-hmm. So every day is a battle.
I would love to lay in bed all day. On my worst days when life is shitty and I'm thinking, what is the point of continuing? I lie in bed and my motivation is I'm going to get up, and I'm just going to keep going on because that's what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because you don't have another choice. That's just who we are.
Yep.
The scariest moment, if you're comfortable sharing, the scariest moments in your life that you can remember, first thing that comes to mind, and how you overcame the fear of it.
Oh, shit. That's a good question. Wow.
The first thing that comes to your mind, because I know as women we all have abundance of scary moments that we overcome.
Yeah.
But something that sticks out to you the most, the scariest moment. What you did to overcome it.
Oh my God.
And if anyone's listening in, I would love to hear your scary moments.
Yeah. On the same topic, saying goodbye to my mother when she passed. It was the scariest moment of my life. But I overcame it. I moved on. And it wasn't until recently that I finally was able to let go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does.
Yep.
Sometimes we hold on to things and I feel like sometimes we hold on to things just out of guilt. Because we feel like we have to hold on to it.
Yes. Like you overthink things and you think all the what ifs. Mm-hmm. What if this happens? What if that happened? What if I do this and that happens?
Right.
And you kind of build it up in your head. But if you just do it, you realize that was all just imaginary shit. And you realize it's not nearly as bad as you made it out to be.
Definitely. I agree. So, in 5 years, where do you see yourself?
5 years. 5 years, I will have completely rebuilt my life from an 18-year relationship. I will have my own home, a new guy. My kids will be reestablished. And I'm looking forward to finally saying, I did this on my own. I did this all by myself. I didn't have any help. There were no handouts. There were no, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have this.
Yeah.
I've worked my entire life to have what I'm going to have in 5 years. And I'm confident about that.
Good for you. And I believe it. And you guys can't see her, but I believe her. Okay? She is telling the truth. And I touched base on this question before, is what keeps you awake at night?
If I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much that we think about as women.
Yeah, we're always questioning whether we're doing the right thing.
And that encompasses everything. Mm-hmm. Children, your career, your life, your friends, men, and I put men at the bottom for a reason. Because if you're up at night, women who are listening, if you are up at night worrying about a man, you need to reevaluate your relationship.
What keeps me up at night is usually my husband for other reasons.
Love it. And I have recently, I will have to agree with that.
No, but I agree, because there's been many, 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 many nights that I have laid awake thinking, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Should I be doing something different? What am I doing wrong where my kids are acting out? Or why did this happen? You know, like, there's so many things in my own life. I mean, and eventually I'll do a solo podcast and I'll answer all these questions myself.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot, you know, that kept me up at night. But what I try now really hard, and it doesn't always work, is to realize that I am doing the best I can every single day. And if I'm not, then that's on me. And then the next day I will do the same, but I need to sleep at night. If I'm going to be great tomorrow, I need to sleep tonight.
Yes. And you can't be up, wondering what if, because I've done a lot of growing over the past year, obviously with, everything that's going on. And the one thing, if anything, the one thing that I have learned is you can sit there and you can complain about how shitty your life is. You can complain about how everybody's done you wrong. That's not going to get you anywhere.
No,
you're going to be in the exact same spot. Thank you. Same spot. Yet, if you think about it and you reflect on it, okay, this is what's going on. What can I do? Because it's not anyone else's fault. It's nobody else's responsibility to better yourself. What can I do to better myself? You wake up that next morning and you do those things, you are that much further the next day than you were the night before.
Agreed. Absolutely. Yeah. You can do your best. That's all that you can do. What makes you the most proud of who you are? Because so many times, and I ask this question because so many times, I guarantee you that if I asked you, what are you most disappointed with yourself? You can name off 100
whole list. Yes.
But I don't want to know those things. Yes. Because to me, you are a great person. And like I said, I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I'm glad that I do know you. I'm glad that you're here. And I said to Curtis earlier, I had a very, very dear friend to me. The only flaw is she caused a lot of unnecessary drama in my life. But as a person, I truly believe that somewhere she was a good soul and we had a connection. And I said to him earlier, I was like, you know who Serena reminds me of? She reminds me of her without the drama.
I don't do drama. I smell drama and I just walk the other way.
And I feel like, you get to a certain, I don't know if you get to a certain age or a certain point in your life where you're just like, you know what? I don't need to be friends with you.
No.
I don't. No. And it took me a very long time. I've kept friends. I know we all keep friends around because we feel like it's necessary because they've either been there for years or...
It's an obligation.
Yes, it's an obligation. And I'm like, no, I don't need to be friends.
No. For the longest time, I thought it was selfish that, oh God, okay, if I look at this person and if they're not there, what are they doing to benefit me? For the longest time, I thought that was selfish. I thought that was awful of me to think. But it's true. How are you going to help or improve my life?
Right.
And I think if everybody genuinely stepped back and thought, not only how does this person help better me, but how do I better that person?
Right.
The world, let me tell you, I don't mean to, come across as this holier than thou person, but the world would be such a better place if people just cut all the shit with all the drama, cut all the shit, well, he said, she said, fuck that shit.
Right.
Just, how can you help me? How can I help you?
It took me a long time, and I don't know if it's because I'm older now. I'm 39. I don't have time.
Once you hit 35, it's kind of you wake up one morning and you're like, shit, what have I been doing with my life?
Yes, because there's so many, and like I said, like this podcast, this platform is to lift up women. It's about women empowerment. But I will tell you, there are some women
I know where you're going
that just can't be lifted. I'm sorry. But, and you know what? To each their own. So I can't even say they can't be lifted. They just don't belong in my life.
Yes. They belong in someone's life.
Somebody loves them unconditionally and can handle them and likes who they are.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that because I was friends with you or you held me down 10 years ago or you did something for me or we went to elementary school, it doesn't mean that I need to be your fucking friend now. I don't. because I don't have time, because I have 5 kids, a granddaughter, a dog, and a husband. I don't need you. Yes, I don't need you. And the women that I do have around me, I want to make sure that those women are uplifting and loving and are goal-oriented and have something going on with their lives so much that they don't need to tear down mine.
Yeah.
So, my rant is over.
I love your rant. Love it.
So, moving on. One thing that you need help with, but you never ask for.
So I like things done a specific way. I like my place cleaned a certain way. I like my laundry done a certain way. I like everything organized a certain way. And let me tell you, I am probably busier than 90% of the people that you know. So you figure, working all week, taking care of kids, then you have grocery shopping, and you have laundry, and you have this, and you have that. I have the hardest time asking for help.
Yep.
Because if it's not done a specific way, I have to work on
controlling your surroundings.
I appreciate the help that you've provided.
Right.
Just because it's not done this way doesn't mean it's done wrong.
Now, do you think that comes with the whole, in 5 years from now, I want to be able to say that you didn't do shit for me, that I did everything on my own?
No.
Because I feel like that's why I don't ask for help.
I don't want to. So I'm very guarded. And the very few people that I do let in, I can let them do things for me and help me and whatnot. But I'm extremely guarded in the sense of, if I ask for your help, if I finally get up the guts and the courage to ask you for your help, 4 or 5 months down the line, you come back and say, if it wasn't for me,
right?
Well,
don't forget the time I did that for you.
I can't.
I feel you.
I can't. You helped me take out the trash. Yet 6 months later, you're asking me to borrow $500. Yeah. That's like apples to oranges. You can't fucking compare those two.
No, I hear you.
So I'm very guarded with with that.
Yeah. It's been tough for me, where it's taken me a long time where, and honestly, I don't even ask other women, and I feel like I should. I don't even ask them for help. And I feel like, as women, we should be able to have that.
The older I'm getting, I always grew up as a tomboy. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends because they're very catty. You can't trust them. You don't know what the fuck they're doing behind your back. The guys, your crew, you can trust them. As I've gotten older, that's kind of switched. Yeah. And I have close couple girlfriends that I would trust my life with.
Do you feel like you get to see them? What I mean is, because I could probably count 2 women in my life that know. So the only person that knows 100% of me is my husband.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yes. Huh. The only person on this planet that knows 100% of who I am is my husband. 80% goes to 2 women. 2 women that I don't see often. I had one on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I haven't seen. We realized that we haven't seen each other in 12, almost like 11 months. 11 months we haven't seen each other, but this woman knows everything about me. 80%. Not everything. If we're being real.
Yeah.
The other one, I almost feel guilty because and I haven't known her forever. I've known her just as long as I've known my husband. She actually set us up, basically. So, but this woman, I can go to at 2:00 in the morning, and she will open her doors and make coffee and be like, you know what, bitch? You were wrong. He was right.
Yeah.
I don't even know why you're here, but you can stay
friends.
here.
You need friends like that. Yes.
And I don't ever feel like I find anyone like that anymore, because the friends that I had, that my so-called friends, I mean, so for instance, the woman that I was like, you know what? Serena reminds me of this woman. This woman was a great person, I thought. I thought she was a great person. She, you know, we connected. We had such a good vibe. We could be open with each other completely. She actually held my youngest daughter before I even held her, because she was 9 months pregnant. I was like, she needs to go home. So let her help. But, you know, years ago, my husband and I were going through something before we were married, and I was staying at her house at the time, and she said, if you even talk to him, you're out. Really? You're my friend? You're going to do that to me? So your friendship comes with restrictions? I don't need that in my life. I don't. So I let her go. And that was the first person that I was like, you know what? I can just let you go. I don't need you in my life.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I can, I have a few very, very close girlfriends that, like I said, I trust with my life. I don't know if I can.
You can say whatever you want. You can drop names if they.
So Marcy, if you're listening, Aubrey, Brenda, my sister Sarah, those 4.
With your life.
With my life, without even thinking about it.
And I envy you for that.
And
I absolutely envy you for having that many women in your life.
And they all play different roles in my life. You know, my sister, you know, it's funny because growing up, I was the protector of my sister. I was her mother. I was her provider. I mean, when I was 6 years old, I was making sure she was fed every day because my mother was strung out on drugs. 6 years old. She was always very needy. She always needed that attention, that loving, that reassurance that she mattered. Now, she is by far the strongest woman I know.
Because of you.
No.
Listen, Serena. Don't shrug your shoulders and say maybe, because you know, if you were playing the part of not only big sister but mother at that time, that she is a strong woman because of you. It's no different than when your daughter gets older and she is a strong woman because of you. Your sister is a strong woman because of you. I envy you. Because my sisters are 12 and 10 years younger than me. My middle sister, I don't even speak to. We're not even on the same page in life. We don't speak at all. My younger sister, she needs to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I have enough kids to raise.
You don't need to raise another one.
Absolutely not. So I envy you that you took the initiative way back, because I didn't. Back
well, that's
then,
all I knew. That's all I knew.
I was selfish back then. I moved out at 15, so I was like, okay, well, you're like 2 years old.
Yeah. There's a huge, Our age gap is only 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
You got to help. Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Hardest truth you've ever had to admit to yourself?
Hardest truth. These are tough questions.
I know.
Wow. Hardest truth.
I feel like I need a Jeopardy.
I know.
Would you like another drink?
I'm good. No, I made this one way too strong. Taking responsibility for actions that I have done in my life. I think it's easy to put the blame on other people, and it's easy to kind of brush it off and pass it off on other people.
Yeah, as their fault.
I think the hardest truth that I've had to deal with is I have impacted people's lives based on decisions that I've made.
Wow.
And when you think about that, and when you really look at it, that's some heavy shit.
Yeah.
And
because you probably fucked some people's lives up.
Fucked them hardcore. Gonna be 100%.
I don't even mean to laugh because it's not funny, but good for you for realizing that is your truth.
Yeah.
That it's.
I am not perfect. I have done some shitty things. But I will say I've acknowledged them. I've accepted them. I've taken responsibility. I've moved on. And
good for you.
I can guarantee I won't make those mistakes again.
Good for you.
So
for knowing now, I mean, I'll tell you, there's still things that, as true as they are, I will fight them to the end. That might just be the Gemini in me. so, but you know, it took a while for me to realize that a lot of shit is my own fault.
Yeah.
And sometimes I won't admit it out loud. As well as I know there's a lot of bitches out there that will not admit that it's their fault that shit happened the way it did.
Father's Day. I'm just going to throw that out there.
So something happened on Father's Day?
No, I'm just saying all those bitches out there who keep complaining about how awful the father was. Well, you know what?
Oh.
You chose
right
to spread your legs.
Right.
You thought he was the man.
I feel ya.
You have to turn around and look at yourself and figure out what your contributions were.
Right.
Because it's a two-way street.
You
know?
Absolutely. Agreed.
Wow.
That's crazy. A time that you realized you were stronger than you thought.
When I literally cut the cord to a family member.
Really?
Cut them off completely. And when I walked away from my ex-husband. Cut the cord.
So you walked away.
So it was a long time coming. He had asked for time apart because he needed some space to think about things. And I realized, you know what? Things aren't going to get better. You know, things will. This is now the 12th, 13th time that this has happened.
Wow.
It's not going to get better. So I said, okay. And I moved out. And he said, you know, all I wanted was some space. I didn't think you were going to take me seriously. I didn't want the separation. And then it turned into, there's a possibility that I have a romantic interest in someone. I'm not quite sure. And that's when I said, you know what? I don't think a separation is going to work. I want a divorce.
So you asked for it?
No, I didn't ask for it. I told him.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a big step. That's
huge because I've learned this recently. My entire marriage, it wasn't real. It was what I thought a marriage should be. So I grew up. I grew up.
Guys, she's killing me.
I'm not going to play the pity party.
No.
I grew up in the projects. I grew up without a father. I grew up in what you have nightmares about your children about, that's what I grew up in. That was the everyday norm for me. So growing up, and part of that whole, I'm going to be exactly the opposite of my mother, was I need a good man for my children. I need to get married. I need to have a house. I need to establish and create everything that my mother couldn't provide for me.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I met a man at a very vulnerable time in my life who was heaven to me. He had a great career. He was stable. He had a great family. The whole checklist that you have growing up of the perfect man, he had it all. And that's exactly what I did. I married this guy. I had children. We bought a house. I did the career. I did the car, all that stuff. And in all that time, we lost who we were with each other. And it's what I thought I needed to do.
Yeah.
And walking away from that was the hardest thing I've ever done, because what I fought so hard for my entire life was to have a marriage and to have a family and to have that ever after. I chose to walk away from that. And now I know it's not this way, but another part that keeps me up at night is, are my children going to be in a broken home? That's a lot of what keeps me up at night is shit.
The burden of did you
Yes.
make the right decision?
Should I have stayed with him for that idealistic factor?
Right.
Or did I make the right decision in
I don't know your whole
happiness?
story. I don't. But I will
And
tell
I know
you.
I'm being vague.
No. I will tell you, my oldest daughter, I mean, without going into detail, I basically chose her father. And this is, I pictured this entire life as this is going to be her father and we're going to have this life. And 6 months after she was born, I got a very real reality check that this is not how things should be. And I will tell you that my daughter, 19 years old, is a beautiful soul. Beautiful soul. Yes, she has made some mistakes. She has made me a grandmother. But she still is a fucking beautiful soul. But I guarantee you, if I didn't walk out that door at 19 years old with my baby and my dog, she would not be the person she is today.
And candy in your pocket. I remember the candy.
Oh my God!
I listen, girl. I listen.
She would not be the person she is today because
Yeah.
I know if I would have stayed, I would have been a shell of a person that I am now.
Yeah.
A shell.
Yeah.
So, if that is what keeps you up at night, I suggest letting that fucking shit go. Because your kids will do just fine and probably better. And I remember my mother saying, you don't want to break up your home. Because my mother is a true believer of you stay and work shit out. That's why she stayed with a fucking alcoholic for so long.
Yeah.
Because you stay and work shit out. No, I'm not. I'm not built for this. I'm not.
Yeah.
And at 19 years old, no, nobody was going to tell me different.
Yeah.
So
Now, he's a great father. I want that on that. He is he is the best father. He is a better father than I ever imagined. I mean, my idea of the perfect dad, he's above and beyond.
really,
Oh my God, he is amazing. I will defend him to the death on how amazing of a dad
good for
he is.
you.
He is, there is no one that could ever replace him as a dad.
Good for you.
You know, we just...
He's just not a good husband, and you're not a good wife to each other.
Correct.
To each other.
Correct.
And, so Gina says, was it ideal, though? I honestly feel that kids do better in homes where both parents are thriving, and if that's not together, they know that.
I'm glad you said that, Gina, because when we were together, there was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of tension. There was a lot of... and we tried to hide it from the kids. We really did.
Yeah.
We waited till they went to bed. We went out to the garage. We went down in the basement. But kids are smart.
Oh, yeah. They're not dumb.
They're smart.
They know.
And since we've separated and we're going through a divorce, we've stopped having conversations at the house or over the phone in front of the kids. We either do it through email or we do it in the car when they can't hear us. Mm-hmm. So all they see is mom and dad can have a civil conversation. Right. We could have ripped each other's fucking heads off in the car, but we go out, we put on a smile, and because it's important to the kids. And that took us a while to get to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, my ex-husband and I, for the first, I want to say 2 years, and honestly, if I'm being honest with you and everyone else, I mean, my divorce was totally my fault. Totally my fault. To an extent. But there's a but. I will say that I definitely warned him 6 months prior that if somebody else came along and paid me attention because he was no longer being a husband, that I was going to jump on it. I warned him. Mm-hmm. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending who you are, it happened. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with someone else. And our marriage was over. For at least the first couple of years, it was hell on earth. When it came, like, my kids know things that they should not have known at 5 years old.
Yep.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
So now we've gotten to the point where we can have real conversations about, okay, so I'll say we'll try and have real conversations. I don't want to badmouth my kid's father.
Right.
But we grew up differently.
Yeah.
We're just not on the same page all the time, but we do our best to co-parent.
No, I get you. Yep.
It is what it is. But I feel like my children would not be the children that they are today if we were still together.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we have it in our heads that the way family is supposed to be is a mother and a father and children, and this is the family, and we stick together no matter what, and this is how it's supposed to be. But sometimes that's going to make it worse on your children.
Yeah.
Because you can sneak in those fights, you can get your digs in, but children are not stupid. Mm-mm. They are not. They know what's going on around you, and it will affect them in the long run.
And they see daddy happy now, because daddy's girlfriend lives at the house. They see daddy happy now. They see mommy happy now. Yes. Mommy hasn't smiled the way she smiled in years.
Right.
And that's because of
your new relationship. Yeah.
So they see that.
You got a new boo.
Yes, I do.
So, one more question before we wrap up, and thank you so much for coming. I know we had some confliction on work schedules, and I appreciate everyone who stuck around on a Thursday night. So, one last question. Advice you would tell your 18-year-old self with the wisdom that you have now?
We're answering this honestly.
Absolutely. There's no other way.
What I would say to my 18-year-old self is close your legs. The way to a man's heart is not through his dick.
Yes.
That is what I would say to my 18-year-old. If we're being completely honest.
Hey.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
I totally appreciate that.
I think women need to realize, and girls, take pride in yourself and respect yourself.
Absolutely.
And love yourself.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Time's up for this episode. Thank you to Serena for being here and to everyone who tuned in. Our new time will be sometime between 5, 6, 7 o'clock on a Thursday. Listen, it depends on when people are here. But we'll be here every Thursday. Even if I have to do the shit myself, we will be here on Thursdays. If you have suggestions or you want to be a guest, because I don't even have to know you, we've proved it right here. Serena and I play Slingo on Monday nights now. But every woman has a story, and I'm here to give you that platform to share your story. So if you have suggestions or you want to be a guest, email us at lowkeyconvos, that's LOKEYCONVOS@gmail.com. Have a great week. I will talk to you next Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.